The coming approach of the interstellar object 3I/Atlas on October 29, 2025, marks a moment of extraordinary scientific and cultural significance, a time when humanity must look both outward toward the cosmos and inward toward its own assumptions. At that moment, 3I/Atlas will reach a distance of about 203 million kilometers from the Sun, completing the first half of its passage through our solar system. Under ordinary circumstances, this halfway point would simply serve as a scientific milestone, an astronomical marker of an object's trajectory as it swings around the Sun. But 3I/Atlas is no ordinary visitor. It is only the third confirmed interstellar object ever observed, arriving from the vast, uncharted depths beyond our star's gravitational domain. Because of its origin, its composition, and its unusual motion, scientists have been prompted to ask deeper questions, not only about what this object is, but also what it might represent. For spacecraft engineers, astronomers, and mission designers, perihelion, the closest point to the Sun, is always the optimal time for a major maneuver. When an engine fires or an impulse is delivered at perihelion, the intense gravitational pull of the Sun amplifies the effect, enabling a spacecraft either to accelerate dramatically or to shift its path toward a new destination. This gravitational lever is also relevant for mothership-style vehicles releasing smaller probes, allowing these secondary craft to harness solar gravity as they disperse toward planets or other targets. If 3I/Atlas were a natural comet, we might expect it simply to follow the gravitational script. But if it were something else, something controlled, manufactured, or intelligently guided, then perihelion would be the most strategic moment for an intentional maneuver, release, or signal. Ironically, just as this optimal cosmic moment arrives, Earth-based observatories will be unable to observe 3I/Atlas due to its position relative to the Sun. This observational blind spot introduces a layer of intrigue that fuels further speculation. Was its trajectory fine-tuned to ensure that the most telling moment of its behavior would occur out of our view? This is not merely the stuff of science fiction. Serious scientists have raised legitimate questions about whether certain interstellar objects could represent technological artifacts rather than natural debris. In my conversations with Bill Hemmer and Dana Perino on Fox News America's Newsroom, I made clear that the scientific method demands openness to possibilities, not the assumption that everything unknown must be natural, nor the assumption that everything mysterious is artificial, but a readiness to examine the evidence without prejudice. In classical mythology, the Trojan horse succeeded precisely because the people of Troy assumed its appearance was harmless. They did not imagine a hidden payload within an innocuous exterior. If an extraterrestrial intelligence wished to send probes, monitors, or self-replicating devices through interstellar space, disguising them as natural objects like comets or asteroids would be an elegant strategy. That is why, together with Omer Eldadi and Gershon Tenenbaum, I co-authored a white paper urging policymakers to consider the potential risks posed by anomalous interstellar objects, especially unusually massive bodies moving in the ecliptic plane, just as 3I/Atlas is doing. The timing of perihelion, arriving only 2 days before Halloween, adds poetic resonance to the scientific uncertainty. Is 3I/Atlas wearing a costume in the form of a cometary shell? Or is it an authentic icy rock untouched by intelligent design? As it moves through the inner solar system, it will pass within 97 million kilometers of Venus on November 3, 2025. During that same week, the European Space Agency's JUICE mission, currently en route to Jupiter, will be positioned to observe it. A natural comet should follow predictable patterns, outgassing, brightening, dust shedding, driven by solar heating. But a technological object, especially one capable of maneuvering or deploying secondary devices, might behave in ways incompatible with physics alone. The observational opportunities provided by JUICE could therefore become incredibly valuable. Later in the year, on December 19, 2025, just 6 days before Christmas, 3I/Atlas will reach its closest approach to Earth, approximately 267 million kilometers, assuming its trajectory remains gravitational and passive. This has sparked a mix of curiosity and humor. Would such an object, if it were artificial, send out mini probes toward Earth like cosmic gifts? Although spoken partly in jest, the underlying question reflects a profound scientific concern. We cannot assume that all interstellar visitors are benign. For this reason, my colleagues in the Galileo Project and I are actively examining data from our 3 observatories to detect any unusual activity in Earth's atmosphere in the coming months. Our objective is not to incite fear, but to ensure that we are not dismissing genuine anomalies simply because they challenge conventional thinking. On March 16, 2026, 3I/Atlas will reach its closest point to Jupiter, at a distance of around 54 million kilometers. The Juno spacecraft already there could play a critical role, imaging the object and using its radio instruments to check for artificial signals. Radio transmissions would be among the clearest technological signatures we could hope to detect. Another would be anomalous heat emissions inconsistent with natural outgassing or the sudden appearance of maneuvering jets, which would suggest propulsion rather than sublimation. Even the compositional data we already have, particularly the unusual abundance of nickel relative to iron, raises questions. Most natural comets follow fairly predictable element ratios based on known cosmic chemistry. A deviation of this kind invites deeper investigation. At perihelion, the Sun will bombard 3I/Atlas with a heating rate of roughly 770 watts per square meter. If it is a typical cometary body held together by fragile ices and dust, this level of heating could cause it to break apart. Such fragmentation would accelerate sublimation and could produce a stunning cometary display, with bright plumes and increased luminosity as sunlight interacts with the expanding cloud of dust. A breakup event would strongly support a natural origin. However, if the object is structurally robust, resistant to disintegration, or behaves in ways inconsistent with thermal physics, perhaps even maneuvering during its closest solar passage, that would shift the interpretation dramatically. Humanity would have to consider the possibility that 3I/Atlas is not a mere frozen relic from another star system, but a constructed artifact launched long ago by a civilization we have yet to encounter. These questions and the philosophical weight behind them were part of the 25-hour conversation featured in my appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience. There, we explored not just 3I/Atlas, but the broader search for alien technologies, the mission of the Galileo Project, and the cultural tendency toward either sensationalism or denial when faced with the unknown. I emphasized the concept of cosmic modesty, the recognition that humanity is likely not the first, the most advanced, or the only technological species in the universe. Just as 2 people meeting on a blind date must rely on observation rather than assumptions or stereotypes, so must humanity approach any possible extraterrestrial encounter with open eyes rather than fear or overconfidence. Speculation without evidence is unhelpful, but so is a rigid refusal to consider what the evidence may ultimately reveal. Ultimately, the story of 3I/Atlas is not just about a single object passing through the solar system. It is about humanity's evolving relationship with the unknown. It is about the willingness to question deeply ingrained beliefs, to investigate anomalies rigorously, and to prepare intellectually and politically for the possibility that we are not alone. Whether 3I/Atlas turns out to be a natural comet or something more intriguing, the lessons it offers are the same. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and do not allow the comfort of tradition or the noise of echo chambers to blind us to reality. Our cosmic neighborhood may hold surprises far greater than anything yet imagined, and it is our responsibility, as a scientific civilization, to meet those surprises with clarity, humility, and courage.